I'm just doing it like that for now,
Right.
to make sure that we actually know, or at least I know what I'm doing, because I'm kind of supposed to handle all this. Because I don't even know where this is supposed to save. But
Did so you have access to like control room and all that stuff?
mhm.
Like,
Yeah. Do you?
is it no? Because it's
No.
you. But are you? Is it like is it doing like what it does, like switches and everything, or
It does on my screen. Are you
good?
seeing
Yeah,
it?
no. So that's the point because you're recording it. It's on your channel, right?
Yeah.
So that's why you
Yeah.
could see when it happens. I only see like you and me, almost like if it was a regular video call.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, but it's doing it. It's doing it.
Good.
When you
Okay.
speak, it'll change to you, but as I talk, it stays.
Great.
Okay, so sorry for interrupting. This is the Interrupted Podcast. We are your hosts,
And
Bryant.
and interrupters. I'm Joey.
Um, this is episode 1, take 2.
We wasted so much time last time. So we tried to do an episode 1 last week, and it was fire. We did a whole review of Eminem's new album Kamikaze. It was amazing. We hated each other. If we were like in person, we would have been punching each other. Like there was blood everywhere, man. And we did not record any of it. At least
Yeah.
not the audio.
No.
So
Okay, so this is what happened. I need
okay.
people to understand. So we initially recorded on OBS. We are now doing it on Google Air, Hangouts, or whatever. And on OBS, I had muted the application because it was echoing my mic. And I had originally thought it was recording you.
Right.
So then I did something so that it would separate the audio tracks last second, but I didn't change the file format in which it's saved. And it just conflicted. Long story short, I messed it up. It was like a one-way conversation. So I was talking, you can hear me clearly talk, but Joey, he was like miming around.
And it looked like you were just having a talk with like the people in your head, like all the voices. You're like, what do you think?
Yeah, so but it was an interesting conversation, and it's not going to be a complete waste because we're actually going to kind of talk a little bit about
it was a good
Eminem's
practice run.
Sorry?
It was a good practice run, is what
Yeah,
that
it was a good practice run. I think so. So it's not going to be for nothing because all that talk that we did, we discussed it. Bottom line is that Joey didn't really like the diss, the album itself as a whole. I kind of liked it. It was ruined for me because of Venom, because that is just, it's not that even as a throwaway song. It's just cancer. Like it just completely.
You got to throw the whole person away once they get cancer.
Yeah.
Is that what you meant? It's like cancer. You just got to get rid of them.
Just throw away. You get rid of them. No, but in this case, it just killed the mood. But so yeah, we're gonna get into Eminem's diss track and kind of talk a little bit about his visual for "Lucky You," the Joyner. But before that, I kind of wanted to talk about some other stuff that's been going on.
Okay.
I think they're interesting. First thing is with Le'Veon Bell. He's been kind of withdrawing himself from signing I think this would be his third franchise tag in a row.
Right, because he wants to get some kind of an extension. He wants to get the real money, not like,
Well, it's not just the money, because if he was to sign the contract extension now, he would be the highest paid running back, because the way it works is that it doubles based off whatever the previous contract was of your salary.
Yeah.
So he was getting paid like around $8 million or something like that, or $9 million. Now he'd get paid like 16 and 18.
Right.
The problem is the franchise tag is only for a year.
Right.
He wants it longer for a year because clearly he's a running back and there's a really low shelf life in terms of the position.
Yeah, I've seen, like running backs can retire by like 28, 29, like.
Right. So, yeah, like we saw with Marshawn Lynch, he only came back because he had an opportunity to play with the team with Oakland, which was his hometown. Other than that, I don't think he would have ever come back.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to talk about this because I think there's a lot of polarizing opinions on this, and I guess I wanted your thoughts on it. My thought on it is when it comes to employees' rights, I'm all about it. And I don't care how much you make. In this case, this guy's a millionaire. And like one of the comments, I was reading a comment on Facebook, and usually I don't get tilted about it, but this one guy, he said, playing in the NFL is a privilege and not a right.
Okay. So the thing is that like if he was some punk kid and this was his first year being a running back and like he was like, give me my money, Like
Yeah.
then okay, that's one thing.
Right.
But the thing is that it's not just it's twofold. It's not just his skill level because he is, I would say maybe in the top 3 running backs in the entire league. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing. And then secondly, he's already had a few years of service with Pittsburgh already. He's already done a bunch for them, and for them to still be super stringy about this whole thing is kind of a disgrace. So it's two levels there. It's like, what's fair and
Mhm.
also what's right because of the loyalty that he's shown to the franchise so far.
Yeah.
Didn't they recently give like Antonio Brown like a bunch of money? Like
Yeah, so they gave Antonio Brown an extension, and I believe
right.
it's like, don't quote me. I think it's around like 14 million.
Okay, but
And they
so they
also
gave
gave an
him.
extension to Ben Roethlisberger for like 2
Okay,
years.
so that's the Trinity.
Yeah.
Those are the
Mhm.
big three things that I mean. Ben has been there for a while already, but like with Le'Veon and with Antonio, you have top three
Yeah.
like players on like two of the most like important
Yeah,
offensive positions:
in
running
terms of
back, wide
offense,
receiver.
just
Yes,
flat offense, they have the top 5. They have the top 5 like
yeah.
offensive players in the,
So they
or
just got
top 10, top 10.
so yeah, and just having Le'Veon on your team, he's like a game breaker.
Yeah.
And the fact that I think that he as well. I mean, every single worker has their rights, should have the ability to kind of protest if they feel that they're not getting paid fairly or getting any kind of fair treatment by their employer. I totally get that. But at this point, it's beyond that because he actually backs up everything he's saying. He's not just making a request; he actually has a legitimate case to be made for, hey, just work with me on my terms, pal. Because
Yeah.
if I leave, that's like a massive hole that you just
Yeah.
can't find another running back to fix.
My big thing is less about football and more on, again, the employee's rights, right?
Sure.
Because this commenter, he's thinking so obtuse about it. Like, oh, this guy, he's a millionaire. He's making a bunch of money. This is a privilege. Not everyone gets to make $1 million. Yeah, but at the same time, not everyone carried the football 404 times in a single season. Not everyone
Right.
gets tackled, hundreds of times throughout his career, risking, essentially his life. Because yeah, people get concussions. I don't think people has ever died on the football field, from my understanding.
Right.
But he's risking his body, and I was surprised by what I think it was an offensive lineman had said. He was saying basically, "Oh, I get it, but I'm a veteran. We can have a chance to make a Super Bowl. He should play this year and then try to go for the big money next year." First of all, it's not about the big money. It's about the years, because
Yeah.
he'd be getting paid the most anyways.
Absolutely.
Second, you're a football player. You above everyone should know that one hit can end everything. So say he does sign this, he makes a $16 million. He gets hit, ends his career. He tears the ACL, whatever the case is. He could
Yeah.
have made, $40 million off guaranteed money for 5 years, but it ended.
Yeah.
So for me, it's about employer. I'm all about
And
employee
and,
rights.
and ultimately, saying that, oh well, you're just playing for the NFL. That's a privilege, not a right. If Le'Veon was like a decent player, he wasn't anything special, and he was like spectacularly average,
Yeah.
and like teams are kind of like still making the choice, like, oh man, you know what, you're good enough, you could join our team. That player has more of a privilege because it's like, all right, cool, these
But
owners are kind of
it's not
extending
even
their
a.
mercy.
But even then, it's the best of the best.
Right,
It's
but
not
that so,
ever.
so that's
Anyone could be an NFL
no,
player. It's
exactly.
you have
No,
to be the
right,
best
right.
of the best and
But
make
then
the cut.
once you are one of the best, like Le'Veon is, you
Yeah.
are in a position where you are like just being who you are, single-handedly bringing in money for the NFL. People tune in to see you. So that's when you more than anybody have any kind of a right to go ahead and demand the money. And especially because that's the position you play, the usual shelf life, and you're trying to make these moves, before something catastrophic happens. I think that that's all of that is justifiable. Period. And I spoke more from a football perspective because while workers and human like that should already be established.
Yeah.
But I was just trying to show that like even on the football end of things, there's no justification to hold him out or not give him. Like if anyone ever says, "Oh well, he's not actually that good. He shouldn't be in a position." Yes, he is. He is that good. And like just again, just football conversation alone, he should probably have already had this kind of money.
Yeah. And going off of that, going in sports, Serena Williams. I don't know if you got the chance to watch any of the U.S. Open.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be totally clear. I'm probably a little biased because I'm a Serena
Mhm.
Williams fan.
Yeah.
But I take it as it comes. I know that she has a history of being kind of like a brat or a diva
Yeah.
and being very like, she's competitive, but she takes it too far. And I take it as it comes. I take it. I know that that's Serena. I accept it as a fan, and that if she's criticized for it, I can't say anything about it because it's true.
Yeah.
Especially like in her initial years as a tennis player, challenging men, saying, "Oh, I can beat a guy, it doesn't matter," blah blah blah, and talking back to officials. I get it,
Yeah.
but for anyone that doesn't know, she got penalized during the U.S. Open women's finals
Mhm.
singles, and she got first penalized for coaching. Which, first of all, for anyone that doesn't really understand coaching, it's illegal for a coach to, coach during a match. The coach
Right.
is there to just prepare their players for the match. Once the match is going on,
It's up
it's
to the players.
it's up to the players.
Right.
But getting penalized for coaching, for people to understand, is kind of like a person getting penalized in NBA for traveling.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it. The refs don't call it all the time. Sometimes it's because they don't see it, but sometimes they do. But if you're gonna call a travel every single time, you're slowing down the game.
Right.
It just comes with it. The coach is always gonna be like, he's gonna comment, watch out, or be faster,
Yeah.
generic stuff like that. I don't know what to the extent the coaching was going on, but everyone gets coached, right? And then she gets a second penalty for smashing her racket on the tennis court. And for a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, well, that's unsportsmanship. That's clearly not right. You're supposed to get penalized."
Right.
Before she smashed her racket, three people before her hit their racket on the ground. None of them got penalized.
So like, and are they guys that you're talking about?
I think they were all guys.
Okay.
Um, I could be wrong. There might be a woman in there, but from my recollection, they were all men. On top of that, we have other issues. For example, taking their shirts off. There was a female tennis player. She took off her shirt. She had a sports bra.
Right, but then she got like penalized for
She got
indecency or
penalized.
something.
But then you have Djokovic, who took off his shirt for in 2 matches, and then some other men that have taken their shirts countless times. They don't get penalized.
Yes.
So clearly, there's a two. There's a there's special treatment in
Yeah.
terms of players. And that's what bothered me about the whole thing. And then on top of that, everyone's kind of looking at this the wrong way. Everyone's thinking, "Oh, Serena, she got cheated." It's not that. Is that she is getting unfair treatment that no other player would be getting. And that's what she was mad about. And it totally overshadowed the win of, I forget her name, the Japanese
Osaka or
tennis.
something like that. Like
I forget, but
yeah.
it was her first ever major title. And it totally overshadowed that moment for her, because everyone's looking, "Oh, it's because Serena got hurt." No, because I'm the first one to admit she was getting whooped. Like, it was clear that
She was
her opponent.
like, if there was not one penalty called, and that's something I was gonna kind of bring up. The game wasn't stripped away from Serena because of all those penalties.
Correct.
All of that was just like her outburst and everything. To be honest, like yeah, it got a little, in my opinion, it got a little bit excessive at times, specifically when it came to like her vocalizing all of her complaints to the official.
Right.
And for him to dock like again, like, because she did keep on coming back to him, and if he felt like, hey, listen, like, you're just like trying to bully me into like something, I think it was justifiable for him to feel that way, even if that's not what she was doing or that was her intent.
Yeah, I agree
And
with that.
there was again, there's like a broader conversation to be had. This is now bringing up, which is cool. But again, I think that Serena had her outburst because of the fact that she was not playing as well as this woman anyway. Like it's not like if there again no penalties, this lady would have won. I think she's only the second Japanese player ever to win some kind of a major.
Oh, wow. So you see, that's great, but it totally got overshadowed.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I felt that was a bit unfair.
There's a wider conversation to be had, but in the end, I think that Serena did overstep her boundaries a little bit. I mean,
Okay.
I'm all for, of course, having that talk about, okay, well, let's make sure everybody's fairly treated. But then
Yeah.
as part of that equal and fair treatment, when it comes to all of these regulations in tennis, then as part of that, you have to look at this game individually and then look at
Mhm.
Serena as an individual, not as a woman or a man. Like
Yeah.
you want to treat them and then just go,
Yeah.
okay, well, looking at this in a vacuum as an isolated game, yeah, she kind of did, kind
Yeah.
of overreact. And,
Yeah.
you know,
I think every Serena Williams fan agrees with that. Like a true fan is like, yeah, she was excessive. But again, it goes to what you're saying. There's a wider conversation. But to
sure.
be fair, I think to your point is that wasn't the time to vocalize it. There could have been
No,
another time to do it. But it is what it is. But speaking of, you know, speaking out of place or doing things out of place, we have Colin Kaepernick and Nike. And it looks like they have a major win. Last time I saw, Nike had plummeted right after the ad, but immediately bounced back up.
that's because
And
you
it's
had those
now
people
like,
that were scared. They
right.
wanted to dip out initially. They're like, well, this is as much like they're digging their own grave. Take all of their stocks out,
Yeah.
and then once they kind of saw the uptrend, they just kind of like stacked right back on. They were
Nope.
like, oh, what were we
No,
doing?
listen, I was
Like,
calling this. I said on Facebook and it's like I
you
put
didn't
it,
actually? Did you actually? You didn't get to buy any shares, right?
I didn't buy any shares,
Uh,
but I was telling, but I'm going to buy Nike, apparel and stuff
of
like that.
course.
I totally agree with it. But anyways, besides that, I posted on Facebook though. I said, my fellow minorities, it's time to buy that Nike stock. While all those privileged people that can pay for a Nike stock are
Yep,
selling it, and it's getting to a more like affordable price to pay for a stock, buy it.
that's right.
Support this, get into this, and I feel like that had a little bit of something to do with it. And then on top of that, you had people that normally buy Nike apparel anyways buy more and
Mhm.
just support this thing. And I think it's awesome for anyone that that's curious. I'm totally okay with the kneeling during the national anthem.
Of course,
There's so many there's so many worse things that happen. You know
not
what I mean?
according not according to Trump, but
Not according to a lot of people. I mean, there's people. So my thing is that's not disrespectful.
no,
More disrespectful things are like white supremacists giving the Heil Hitler while singing the national anthem, which is supposedly about freedom, equality, and fighting oppression
right.
by people who want to oppress specific demographics using symbolism of oppression. To me, that's disrespectful.
Hmm.
But someone kneeling for, in this case, police brutality on minorities, specifically African Americans, that's okay to me. So I think it's really awesome. I don't know what you think about the whole thing.
I think they should stand for the end. I'm Jesus.
Generic Southern man voice.
I know. I live in Texas, so I have the right to do so.
True.
I want to get your opinion. I actually want to get your opinion on something really quick, and then I'll
Sure.
respond because it does have to play back into what I have to say anyway. But
Okay.
there was somebody there's somebody I know, and he's actually a member of the band that I'm in. He's the bassist. He's a libertarian. So get the government out completely and
Yeah.
yada yada. Like even though like we have socialist programs, the country that using our taxpayers' money, like roads. At least you don't have to bring your own road with you when you drive anywhere
Yeah.
because of the government. Like get rid of it. Like, are you kidding? But in any case, he puts these memes up on his Facebook, and oh god, this one that he posted today, it had a picture of Martin Luther King on the left and Kaepernick on the right, and it was like, what was it like, social justice hero or like equality hero, whiny bitch for Kaepernick. So that's what I kind of want to get your opinion on because of the fact, and this is the standard in the NBA, shut up and dribble with
Yeah.
that lady on Fox News. It's the same deal for football. It's like, okay, cool. You got paid millions of dollars to play, this sport. You have the right to even say everything you're saying, and you're in a position of privilege. Why are you complaining about all this? I
Right.
have an answer. Like, I didn't respond to that. on Facebook, by the way. I don't do that.
Me neither.
I don't. I don't get into any of
I'm
that
so
shit.
again, not
Yeah.
against it, but it's just it's not.
Everyone else can kind of hash it out,
Yeah,
man. And we'll have a person-to-person talk. But
exactly.
what's your opinion on that whole angle where it's like, all right, cool, you have an opinion, man, that's awesome, but like you're rich, so no.
Right.
Like,
So my opinion on that is first of all is all about optics and perspective, right? We're
mhm,
looking back on Martin Luther King after, over 50 years after
yeah,
he has the civil rights movement and, him and a little less after he was assassinated,
yeah,
passed away. So we're looking at it, oh, social rights hero, all this stuff. We know about all the good stuff. First of all, he wasn't even perfect. He had some kind of not skeletons in the closet, but he was religious,
yeah,
and he had his doctrines, and he stood firm to that. But on top of that, at the time, people weren't looking at him like a hero. Majority of Americans weren't looking at him like a hero. They were looking at him like someone totally disrupting the system and causing chaos and things like that. Like when they were
dividing the
dividing
country.
people.
Yeah,
The same way we talk about Colin Kaepernick is more or less similar to the way people are talking about Martin Luther King. But that's perspective, because now we're looking back on it and we're like, wait a minute, racism and segregation is a bad thing, I guess, after 50
right.
years. So right now we're looking at it like, oh, he's being a whiny bitch, talking terrible about police officers, all that stuff. In 50 years, we're going to look back on all these police brutality and all these cases of police officers shooting unarmed civilians and finding out, oh, there was a bit of unfairness and all that. We're going to be, oh man, I guess we should be careful with the people we arm with a gun and a badge.
Yeah,
It's all about perspective in that case. Going on to kind of a second point you brought up with him being a millionaire, again, I'm all about the people, the voice of the people.
hmm,
I kind of had a conversation with a friend, and I'll elaborate it to make it quick, but it's funny that you have people like Jay-Z or Michael Jordan, right? These are big people in the African American community, and they're
yeah,
very revered by people in totality. People love Michael Jordan; he's the greatest of all time. Jay-Z, one of the greatest New York rappers. Everyone loves him, but you know what they do? Nothing. They
yeah.
do absolutely nothing. Michael Jordan is not involved in anything. I
He's
don't think
really apolitical. Like he's
he's
like not
on top of being apolitical. One thing is to be apolitical, one thing is to not be, outspoken. Another thing is to be involved. He does not involve himself in almost anything. There's very little charity work he does. He doesn't really work with inner city kids in projects and stuff like that. He doesn't do any of that. He just owns a basketball team and he manages it terribly. Look at Jay-Z. What's he doing? Nothing. He literally doesn't involve himself in anything either. You barely hear from him. He's kind of like one of these one percenters that he's like a myth. He's like, you don't really know if he's actually
right.
still there anymore. You only hear about him because Beyonce is still working in the music industry.
Hmm.
But then you have people like Colin Kaepernick. You have people like LeBron James. You have people like Serena Williams, also revered people by the African American community. But the majority of people probably hate them. They do not like them. Oh, they're too outspoken. They're too political. They always make it about race. I don't like them for whatever reason. Yeah, but LeBron James, he pays for kids' schooling and studies and their school supplies. And if they get a good enough grade, they get a full ride, every single one. It doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are, gender, race. If you get good grades, you get a full ride to Akron College. Colin Kaepernick, he helps out inner city kids. He gives clothes to prisoners and things like that in jails that need clothes, they need blanket, they need food. Serena Williams, she has her tennis camps in Compton and in West
Hmm.
Palm Beach for underprivileged kids. They're involved, yet we hate them.
Hmm.
Why? Because the narrative and the media wants to totally shift you away from all this good stuff they're doing and say, oh, it's because they're whiny. They make millions of dollars, but they still cry every day.
Right.
To me, total like that's total BS.
And the
Just
thing is
total
that
bullshit.
like and the when we're talking about the messengers,
Yeah.
the main thing is like, okay, well, they're these star athletes and they're making millions of dollars. They don't have to go through any of this kind of prejudice. They don't have to. They haven't personally been victims of any of this shit.
Right.
Why are they the ones like that are complaining about it? Well, for two things. Firstly, the people that have the most right to complain about, you know, the actions by the police, a lot of them are dead.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? Like the victims can't
And
speak for themselves.
and don't have a voice.
Right. And then on top of that, these people who are currently living in these inner cities and experiencing police brutality are so under the thumb of this kind of system sometimes, where they, firstly, it's not that they just don't have the platform that they could reach a large enough audience to talk about these injustices, but then even within their own communities, they're usually silenced by more powerful people, maybe other police officers. If you tell anybody about what we did here, we're going to show up and fucking kill you.
I mean,
Like there
that
are
happened with I think it was Miami Beach. There was a police officer. He was just indicted because he was putting people in jail for burglaries they didn't do that he was actually committing. But he
right.
kind of blackmailed them, saying, "If you
Exactly.
don't take these charges, I'm going to charge you for something worse."
Right. So then, you know, when you have somebody who is in a position that they have the platform and,
Yeah.
you know, because they haven't personally like it went through any all these things that these people are experiencing, you know, that means that they're taking it onto themselves. It's an
Right.
issue that they don't have to equate with, or they don't have to because of their privileged position, but they're making the choice to say, hey, these people that do not have the platform, the talent, the money, etc., are experiencing all these injustices, and I'm going to speak out on behalf of them. And the fact that Colin has been doing that for a couple of years already, and now it's kind of being paid off, and there's recognition from Nike. Oh, but he's making money off of this now. He's profiting. He wasn't these last couple of years.
Yeah.
He couldn't get
Absolutely
a
not.
job in the NFL. He couldn't, and he has been maligned from the first time he did it. There
Yeah.
wasn't like, you know, it wasn't everybody loved it and then started to hate it. It's just it was ingrained immediately, just like a line in the sand, right when he took that
Yeah.
first knee.
I
And
mean,
so
again,
he's been
yeah.
dealing with this for all this time. And now Nike's like, all right, we're gonna take a chance on this advertising campaign, see what happens. And now everyone's like, oh, well, he's profiting off of it. It's like he it's not like he also like took some kind of calculation and was like, oh, I'm gonna make so much money if I stand up for this right now.
Yep.
He has been. And he's been
Mhm.
putting his money where his mouth is also in his
And just
community and
and just to
doing
make
his
it
work.
clear, because I don't know about Colin Kaepernick, LeBron James and Serena Williams, even though they have a lot of money, were victims. Well, yeah,
They on the come up. Yeah, you're right. I mean, you
on the
had
come
like
up.
Serena coming up
No,
from
but
like Compton
I
and
understand what you're trying to say. They still don't have to, because we have a lot of athletes that on the come up, and not just in the African American community, in any demographic. They come up, they stay silent. They don't give back. They don't try to
right.
inject some kind of positivity or help progress where they came from. But you have LeBron James. He was a single African American kid in Akron, Ohio, with just his mom. He didn't have his dad. He grew up in that kind of environment. Serena Williams, when they were playing tennis in Compton, even here in West Palm Beach, they were enduring a lot of racism, and a lot of people did not want them playing tennis, but they persevered, and including Venus Williams as well. Her sister also endured it. But and that's why I find about the whole thing ironic, where you have people that don't need to speak about this, that do have the platform, the power, and the money to do so. This is like the voice. These are actually people that want to speak for the people,
Yep.
but we don't want them to speak for us. We'd rather have someone who's silent. We'd rather
Right.
praise people that are silent on the subject, don't support you, and you give it. And yeah, like even if he was like with the whole Nike, he wasn't making money off of this the entire time. He was probably losing a lot of money.
Absolutely.
But even if he is making money, do you realize how many bad people are making money?
Hmm.
No one says anything about that. You have, oil and auto industry just totally slowing down progress of public transportation and alternative sources of energy and stuff like that, so they can stay in power, so that
Or
we
the
stay
pharmaceutical companies too.
right. So they're making money off of you too. You seem to be okay with it. Why is it that this guy that comes up on an issue that you might not really understand because you don't go through it, or because the media is kind of brainwashing you to look at it from a specific perspective,
Yeah.
that you have a problem with it? So, um, but I think in conclusion, this is a great thing. And I think we can agree that this is going to go to even better places. I'm excited to see what's next and the reaction that's going to happen due to
Yeah.
this contract.
In conclusion, we're SJWs, Black Lives Matter activists, and fucking
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
That's right.
Um, so, anyways, let's segue into what the people are here for.
That's
This,
a great segue. Let's
yeah,
segue. Like it doesn't
segue.
matter what we're talking
This
about. It's
is
like
this is me breaking the fourth wall.
great.
Just I don't have a segue. We're just gonna segue straight into it.
That would be the fourth wall right here. Yeah.
Rip. Um, and it's Eminem's diss to MGK. Very long awaited. I read that it was 2 weeks, and I'm like, really? But yeah, it was 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since MGK dropped his diss, Rap
Mm-hmm.
Devil, in response to one of Eminem's singles, Kamikaze, on the self-titled
Mm-hmm.
album Kamikaze, which I thought was great until again Venom. The song that is not to be named, as Joey
Right.
had mentioned last time in the
Denim.
podcast. I'm going to
Denim.
give him the credit because, again, it's never going to be found. So,
We renamed it
yes.
also. It's
Yes, Denim. It's Denim.
the song is called Denim, not
So,
Venom. We're
is
gonna
the response. So, I think first we can talk a little bit about MGK's reply with Rap Devil.
yeah,
What was your thoughts on it?
okay. I thought it was kind of weak sauce. And I did tell you even then it was a little bit weak. There was a couple of it's the thing is that this was something that I glanced over when I listened to MGK, but then when I heard Kill Shot and M's like explicitly brought it up, went back and listened to Rap Devil, and then I was like, okay, this happens at the entire song. You can't diss me and praise me at the same time.
Yeah.
All throughout MGK's diss, it was like, "Hey man, you never once top 10. Hey man, you're one of the best rappers of all time, but you old." It's like that's just what he did constantly throughout the
Yeah.
entire thing, and that undercut so much. I mean, you can have like your complaints about specific lines, like, "Oh man, that bar was weak. That bar was fire." But like, even if it's like a fire diss bar, what came before, if it was like, "Yo, you're awesome, man. I love you." It's like that's that like you just negated everything. You took like
Yeah.
the wind out of your own sails.
It's what I would like to call the Drake Duppy freestyle method. It was kind of like that same feeling, and that's what kind of killed the hit Drake's reply to Pusha T's Infrared.
Absolutely, that's right.
That he was like, "Oh man, I can't, the audacity and all this stuff." Like, and he's like, "Listen, I kind of like you or whatever, but you're still old." And it was the
No,
same thing. And you can keep going, but my big thing was like the whole old. I think that's such a stupid diss. It's such a cheap,
yes,
lazy lyric to insert.
yeah, the fact that again, and Killshot was like there was nothing. There was no like, "Yo, MGK, you have a good little career." Like he doesn't say anything nice about the kid, and that like it was just that's what it's a diss track, yo.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
you're supposed to just go for it.
well,
MGK
I
didn't.
think that's why Eminem started with the verse. Well, one of the first verse he started with was, "How are you gonna diss me, but then praise me at the same time?" It's basically him saying, "I'm not gonna do that. This is a
No,
diss. I wrote Kamikaze not because I respect you or like you. I wrote it because I don't like you, and that's just the way it is. And this is not going to change. I'm not going to praise you just because you praise me. That's not the way
yeah.
this works."
So I have to just I'm sorry. MGK's this corny. Didn't like it all that much. And Eminem agrees with me to say the
Yeah,
least.
according to what he's
Oh
responded.
boy, I'm just reading all the lyrics of Killshot. I have it on Genius right here in front of me, and oh my god, like let's see. Okay, let me pull out some. Okay, oh all right. It says, let's see here. So before you die, and this is of course the first verse. He hasn't even gotten into it yet. So before you die, let's see who can out petty who with the
Yeah,
corny line. Slim,
yeah,
you're old. Ow,
hmm
Kelly. Ooh, but I'm
yeah,
45. I'm still out selling you.
yeah. That was cold.
Oh
That
my
was
god! Like,
that was cold.
and there's like a couple lines like later talking about how his greatest flops are your greatest hits, like just over and over. Like young and you're the whack me. It's funny, but so true. I'd rather be 80-year-old me than 20
Yeah,
year old
that was
you.
a. I'm not gonna lie, I was a
Oh,
bit worried because the way he kind of opened up with the word, like the first kind of verses he opened it up with. I'm talking about Kill Shot with Eminem. The first couple of verses I felt were kind of weak. It was like he was being petty too. but obviously we expect more from Eminem. But as the diss continued, you started to get like these lyrics.
It snowballed. It just got like more gigantic. And even from the very beginning, I get what you mean, kind of, but when he was doing like the impersonation of MGK, like, you sound like a bitch. Your beard's weird.
Are you
weird beard.
Are you done?
Weird beard. And you know, but oh yeah, I was watching 8 Mile on my Norda track because MGK had the line. I think the last time you saw 8 Mile was on a treadmill.
Yeah.
I was 8 Mile on my Norda track. Here's the autograph for your daughter. I wrote that on a starter cap. Oh boy, which by the way is actually a reference to Stan, the Eminem song. Like, hey, I gave you an autograph. I wrote it on a starter cap. That was a line there, so that was the reference.
Because that's the whole point, right? That
he's a stan. Yeah, right.
Yeah, ultimately he's the fan. He's the one on the the one obsessed with Eminem that's chasing him, not the other way around. So I'm with Rap Devil. Kind of going back, I kind of liked Rap Devil. This is why I liked it.
I mean, okay, as a song, yeah, I think MGK rode the beat decently and it had a pretty decent beat also. But I can't. There was, I don't know. I think. Okay, sorry. What were your thoughts on that?
No, because I get what you're saying. Like, it's not just that. It's not just the beats and the flow. Like, yeah, that all kind of has something to do with it. But I thought it was, I want to say, admirable. If that makes sense.
Okay, that's fine. I actually agree with you there. Like, it was like, go get him, Tiger.
Yeah.
Like, I get
go
it.
In there, kid. Like, like, you're like, oh, okay, he's standing up to himself. Good for you. But you need to be ready for what's going to happen. And I don't think he necessarily was.
He wasn't ready.
Yeah, no. So put that cute. Yeah, I wish we had a soundboard. That'd be perfect. But yeah, that's exactly it. And some of the lines were good. Again, I have to like go back into it or whatever. But there was some good stuff on it that I like personally. I don't remember specifically, but there was some good stuff on it that I liked. But what killed it for me again was the whole, oh, why you coming at me? I'm a fan and blah, blah, blah. And on top of that, calling him old. That's such a weak, lazy, thing to write a diss on. It's like, it doesn't matter how old he is. Because if he's outselling you, he's outwriting you and doing everything better than you. Obviously, age has nothing to do with it. It's just pure talent. And that's why I thought it was, as it got more and more into Killshot, him saying like, oh, I'd rather be 80-year-old me than 20-year-old you. 45-year-old me is still outselling you. Even at my lowest point, it's, it still outsells your best. Like, these are all true statements in response to him saying, oh, you're old, blah, 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 or even him bringing about revival or whatever. Oh, 4 albums ago, go back to 3 albums ago. And he's like, wrong. There were 4. Make sure that when you read this, that it's accurate and you're not just being petty about it. And if you want to be petty about it, I can do it and like go 100 times more. So
yo Slim, your last 4 albums suck. Go back to Recovery. Oh shoot, that was 3 albums ago. What do you know?
That was the
line. What do you know? Oops.
And I kind of caught that the first time I listened. I'm like,
yeah.
I was like,
oh man,
like 3 albums ago, wasn't it? Like I felt like there was something, the Mathers or whatever.
That's right.
Or so obviously. And it goes to the fact that MGK wrote this obviously a lot faster than Eminem, but something, the time frame still doesn't fit right for me personally, because in 2 days he was able to do a visual and write. And not doubting MGK's writing skill, but it just seems I think he got a heads up about the album, to be honest, even though it was a surprise album. I think he got a heads up about it, that Eminem was going to come after him, and he got something ready for him. That's my personal opinion about it anyways. Similar to how
there's leaks all the time.
Yeah, leaks. Everything leaks all the time. The same way I thought Pusha T was prepared for Drake to reply to Infrared, or for anyone to reply to Infrared for that matter. But I think specifically Drake, he had a lot of stuff on him. So I think MGK had a heads up, even if it was 2 days within the album dropping or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, that has a little thing to do with it, but that's not really an excuse. You should write accurate things. So, and he's talking about MGK's talking about Rap Devil, like, oh, like he didn't really say I'm hot now, but he's saying he's successful and Eminem's just mad because he's not successful anymore.
Right.
I just love the line, one of the verses at the end that Eminem says, he's like, I had to give you a career before I can end it or
Oh
whatever.
my, that, and you know what? Okay, so right when I heard that, I was like, all right, cool. At least he's acknowledging that this guy is definitely not worth his time,
Yeah.
but he's deciding to make it worth his
Right.
time and give him that spotlight so he can crush him. That was
Right.
a cool
And
line.
that goes to what I was in the first episode that wasn't recorded. I had to mention that I think the way that album was ordered was more or less the order in which Eminem wrote these tracks or was working on these tracks.
Yeah.
Because the first couple of songs, there were these big guys. We're talking about Joe Budden,
Which he
D12.
does mention in this, by the way.
In this new this?
Hell yeah.
Oh,
I'll tell you the line.
Okay.
I'm looking it up, but continue.
So D12 and stuff like that. Slaughterhouse, the rap group. He talks about like these bigger targets and kind of like these bigger story arcs in his career. And then he kind of like mellows down to more like reflecting and apologetic. And then he comes back at you to like these smaller targets that are random. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, why? I get it, but why did he come at? Why MGK? Why Tyler the Creator?
Exactly.
Why these new trap artists, Lil Pump and stuff like that, 6ix9ine? Why these guys? It doesn't make sense. And and I think that in his diss he had mentioned, like, he had said, you're just a molehill, but now I'm gonna make a mountain out of you. That was the point. Eminem knew this was petty, but he wanted to write about it anyways. This just gave him now a reason to really dig into it and kind of write how he feels about the whole thing. So that's just another thing I appreciate about the whole. It makes me appreciate Kamikaze more because it helps me understand that like the album was truly for this. It was truly for Eminem to make us for him to reply about certain things and like affirm certain things and blah blah blah.
It actually reaffirmed my faith in Eminem as an individual and his ability to respond to direct disses instead of just like sitting down, just coming out with like a bunch of shit. Once he actually gets responded to, which is rare nowadays, the fact that he can still sling it, is something that like I could still appreciate. And I think that Killshot's actually better than a lot of tracks off of Kamikaze.
Really?
A few, like just the quality of the track, the flow.
Oh, okay. Let's take away Nice Guy and Good Guy and Venom. Those don't count.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you put that there, it would have been at home, even though it would have been awkward to diss MGK in a song and then have like the diss track.
You know what would have been cool if they didn't have those last 4 songs on Kamikaze. He only had like the other it would be 10 tracks, including the 2 skits.
Yeah.
And then after this diss, he makes like a deluxe, and the only thing deluxe is just the added kill shot at the end or whatever.
No, he could Life of Pablo the whole thing and just like update the album and get rid of those 4 tracks.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
Like I heartily enjoyed it. I think that good, like the fact I had my initial concern, like, I still think maybe he should not have picked the thing with MGK, but since he did, I'm not going to complain when shit goes down. I love a good beef and battle. Like,
me too. Listen, I think it brings out the best of people, or it helps us see what's actually good,
right?
And it cuts, the man from the boys, kind of in a sense, or just the actual artists, the people or the MCs in this case. With beef, it's clear who's the better MC. And I've always said that, like, for example, with the Pusha and Drake beef or whatever, I've always said this: Drake as an MC, he's not even in the top 100,
right?
For me personally, and I think for people that like they study rap, he's not anywhere near even maybe the top 150 as an artist. Yeah, because he successfully and for a very long time consistently been able to attract a very wide audience in this one specific genre, and he has a huge following and stuff like that. But he has ghostwriters. He doesn't do his own beats. He's just a performer. He's just, he's basically a Cardi B, but more popular, essentially, in my opinion. But then, and then everyone's like, oh no, Pusha T, who listens to that guy? He's not any good. Well, then when it came to beef, when it came to diss, when it came to the pen on paper, we clearly saw who was the better MC. And in this case, between Eminem and MGK, obviously, there was no question it was going to be Eminem. But that being said, I thought Rep Devil was whatever. It was good. It was like, oh, good thing. Kill Shot, I also thought it was good. But I will say this, I didn't think it was that great either. The same way I didn't think that Rap Devil wasn't that great. Like, I think it was a good response.
I think it's significantly better than Rap Devil. And I mean by quality of, well, firstly, Eminem being much more skilled rapper, period, it was just a better performance than MGK's. And on top of that, because they're both diss tracks, which one was the better diss, the most hits, better punchlines? It's also Kill Shot. So it's like, it's just,
I'm not disagreeing that Kill Shot was the better diss. All I'm saying is that this beef was whatever, and it has to do with MGK. Eminem wasn't challenged. Let's be honest.
Well, but that's the thing. I'll just take what I can get. It's almost like a cheeseburger at McDonald's. Right, like exactly. This is fast food beef. Exactly. I'm fine with the fact that it happened, and I'm not going to complain when Eminem is, because again, and this is something I mentioned last week, angry Eminem comes out with good shit. Like when he's angry, when he's backed up against the corner. So
he's actually a good writer, so he could channel it properly.
Like to say how lopsided this was. MGK is going to respond again. He said on Twitter, I think, like, he responded to this diss. He was like, oh, it's like it took you 2 weeks.
Okay, he's not going to respond based off that tweet.
No. And then after that tweet, he then posted that his next EP is going to be coming out like next month or something like that. So the correlation of those two things is like, all right, watch out my new EP because I'm going to have something.
No, I think the perspective on that is that, hey, oh, it took you 2 weeks. Haha. Hey, well, everyone's on my Twitter because everyone's worried about this Eminem beef. My EP is coming out and I want them streams. I think that's what's going on.
But here's the thing. Ultimately,
versus him coming out with a diss.
Even if he comes out with a second diss, Eminem does not have to do another one. Like that one.
No, he has to.
No, dude. Like,
he has to.
That, I don't think there's anything MGK can do.
No, I don't think he needed to respond to Rap Devil. But now that he did, if
he has to just keep on going.
Not that it keeps on going, but
what I'm saying is that I can't imagine MGK doing anything that after Kill Shot is like, well, like they're like superseded. Like he's not. It's
not going to supersede it, but that's my point. If MGK responds, which I don't think he should, I think he just, listen. You got the well, how many views did that Rap Devil music video get on YouTube?
Like 75 million, I think.
Yeah, like millions. Yo, listen, just ride this wave of millions that you got from streaming. Use this attention for your next EP to get a bunch of streams for next time. Just ride this wave out. Be thankful that nothing worse happened. Because let me say, I think he did better than Ja Rule.
Oh,
yeah, he did. Come on,
that's not even okay. Yes, better. I'm not saying he didn't. I'm just saying I forgot about Ja Rule.
Oh, okay. A lot of people have.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't think MGK remembered because I don't think he would have done a diss because he could have potentially got his career ended. Because after Ja Rule, after that diss, what happened to Ja Rule? Nothing.
The issue is that people seem to forget that it's not that Eminem had his start in the rap battle scene. It's that he was in the rap battle scene and was already one of the best to have ever done rap battling ever before he even came out with his first EP. Like he was like a celebrity in the underground rap community. Then he comes out and they're like, oh, well, now he's just a rapper. It's like, you have no clue how good he was at hand-to-hand combat,
right?
Like verbal combat. It's like, and
this is like Kimbo Slice coming into the UFC, kind of like it's this
street fighter. Rest in peace, man.
Yeah, right, man. I'm sad. But this guy, he he already had a reputation. It's not clear-cut fighting, but the guy's an animal. And if you let him loose in the ring, he finds success in it because it's still fighting. It's raw talent.
And
versus,
he can just one-on-one, like, just decimate. And so,
Mhm.
you know, I mean, okay, I see what you're saying. I was just saying that the strength of this one freestyle makes it unnecessary to even like respond to anything else MGK has to come out with, because again, all these lines about, like, there were a lot of lines that were references to that, to Rap Devil specifically, but then there were these broader lines of, you're a molehill, I'm 45, I'm still out telling you, when I was your age I was already a success. It's like, it's, you know, like, all these lines that just stand on their own, and it doesn't matter what MGK can say because these will remain true.
Yeah, but this is kind of like a, how you say it, like, this is him being kind of nice about it, because I'm sure he could have been worse. Because again, Rap Devil didn't push Eminem to the edge of his talents because it wasn't that great.
MGK, you mean? Rap Devil, you said?
Right, I'm saying Rap Devil didn't push
Eminem. Okay,
to go that well, you know, because I don't think Killshot was that great. It was better than Rap Devil, but it didn't push Eminem. But the reason I don't think it came out that great was because Eminem didn't have to. Anything that he could have farted something out and it would have been better. He could have
even if Eminem didn't explicitly go, but MGK, you're a nice rap. Like, even if he didn't compliment him in the diss, the fact that it wasn't a complete decimation is in its way a nicety of some kind.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Right. Now I see
this is MGK's chance to back off. You're riding this wave. Everyone's looking up MGK because they want to see what you're saying. Ride this wave. Get your couple of streams.
Because the issue is that Eminem still has like 7 notches left. Like 7 or 8 more they could ramp the fuck up. And like, then he can you will actually die. Not that your career gets killed.
We get to Ja Rule level.
It's like it's like a fucking, like, it's like a black hole. Like, we're talking about, like, we bring you back to life. It's like, pew, like into like the abyss of like, who is this kid?
So that's what I'm saying. If MGK does not take it as it is,
that's right.
Responds, I think Eminem has to reply, and he has to go unfiltered, just to end this one and for all. Because people can sue. I think if someone told me, I think MGK had a better diss, I can see why they would think that. I don't agree with it, but I can see why. Because Killshot wasn't for me a kill shot. It was more like you paralyzed him, kind of. Like,
I see what you mean.
You hit him in the lumbar. He's on the ground. You know, he's still alive. He can go to rehabilitation. He can get back on his 2 feet. He has a chance.
But he has to poop in a bag.
Right, exactly.
That's right.
But again, if MGK replies, then I think it is
bombs away.
Yeah, Eminem has to go bombs away. Yeah, just to end it, just to seize any questions about it, just so that no one says anything. You know, even his fans, which Eminem announces, he's like, I have more fans in your own city than you do, which is like crazy. Like, once it's like you're saying, the snowball was insane. The beginning I was getting worried, but then you're like, I was like, oh my God. Like, and they're all facts. They're all true. Like, they're nothing that surprises us. The only people that are surprised about this is apparently MGK and people that have not listened to Eminem. That's like, that just purely listen to like the new era rap or whatever, or not new rap, but this new point of rap that we're in with these new rappers and stuff like that.
Oh man. Okay, so this is the part. This is the part because, like I said, you know, when you said snowball, it just reminded me again. So okay, I'll read this. Oof. Okay. Thanks for dissing me. Now I had an excuse in the mic to right, not a like, but really I don't care who's in the right. But you're losing the fight you picked. Who else won it, Kells? Kelly.
Yeah.
Kells attempt fails. Button L's. Fucking nails in these coffins as soft as cottonelle. Ooh. Wait,
Eminem's getting into some foreign territory. He's calling. He wants Joe Budden to write back.
I'm with Doc. I'm with Doc still, but this idiot's boss pops pills and tells him he's got skills. Man, so he calls out Budden and Diddy also because he brings up Diddy a few times, like in the last part.
Right.
It's like hell's the day you put out a hits, the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
as it's never gonna happen. But so
Which
he
was the
calls out
point of
Diddy because MGK's actually signed to Bad Boy Records, which is
it. Mhm.
Diddy's label,
Yeah.
and he calls out Budden.
Dude,
Uh
I think out of everyone, he wants Budden to write him back. Because now I'm kind of convinced with Charlemagne that he pointed out, he's like, I think the only one out of everyone that Eminem had dissed in Kamikaze, the only one that could fare against him lyrically is Joe Budden. And
this would be like Rocky against like Ivan Drago.
yes.
Like it would be like the fight of the century.
Yeah, it would. Well, more Apollo. I like that fight more. I like Rocky Apollo.
Me too, actually. Yeah.
So I'm gonna say because they're both respectable people
and flashy. Well, not Rocky, but Apollo for sure.
Right.
Definitely.
No, but what I
flashy.
mean is like Rocky is a respectable boxer. Apollo is a respectable boxer, as
Yeah,
opposed to the Russian. He was kind of the antagonist of
must
the whole
break
thing.
you.
Yeah, I must break you. But yeah, no. If Joe Budden comes out, now that's foreign territory. Now listen. This is again Charlemagne the God. This is mayonnaise mayhem going on. This is like whatever. There's no flavor. There's really nothing to it. You can't have anything with it. It just is what it is. But Joe Budden comes out and Eminem. Now this is what we deserve. The people deserve Joe Budden and Eminem. I think this is the rap beef that we all deserve.
One can dream, man. It's like Kobe beef, like there.
But Joe has it explicitly like made it like he's out of music. And he's not going to respond. And he gave his reasons, I think, but
because he's doing the podcast. He's a public figure now.
Is that what it is? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying this is all kinds of, but that's
okay.
what he is now. Firstly, like the radio host thing, and now he does podcasts. Like I think he's behind the mic, but
right in a different way.
That's right.
I don't know. I think that there might just be other reasons or whatever. He doesn't want to get back into it. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I think people deserve it, but
Absolutely.
whatever. But yeah, I think we both agree that Killshot is better than Rap Devil.
And Eminem not only won but will win. Like he won this round, and then if it keeps on going, it's just not going to change.
Absolutely.
And hopefully, what's next is Tyler the Creator comes out with a diss song like that's like super well produced. Have Frank Ocean come in, dude. If you get Frank Ocean coming and saying "fuck shady," like he wins. Tyler wins because he's just like
he doesn't matter. Got Frank Ocean to sing a verse after 5 years.
That's it. It's like who's Eminem gonna get? Like Rihanna to go, hey, Tyler. It's like get out of here.
Tyler he's not into that, and he should.
I know
because again. Because it's like you say, angry Eminem stops being Eminem. It's Slim Shady, and he's a character, kind of. And there's no filter, there's no limits, and everyone just kind of. It's kind of like the Hulk. He doesn't mean to. It just is what it is. He's been given this talent, and people get her on the sidelines, and you can either take it personally or you don't. And if you take it personally and you decide to go for it, Eminem's he's gonna take you all the way, even if you're not willing to. If you weren't willing to go that far to begin with, Eminem's already there. And that reminded me, I can't believe I almost forgot. Okay, so before I start, on the first podcast that wasn't recorded, I had mentioned that I'm not an Iggy Azalea fan, but because she's from Miami, I support her. I want her to be good. I want
anybody that reps Miami to be good.
Right, exactly.
Whether it be sports or
people. If you're from us, I'm gonna support you. I'm not like the type of guy that's like, oh, you're garbage. Like, yeah, sometimes, but if you're from Miami, I want you to be good. I'm repping for you, but it's hard, man. And I said this in the first record, like it's hard because she doesn't come out with a lot of good stuff.
Nope.
I'd go as far as to say is a lot of bad stuff. She comes out with like a lot of trap club stuff, but more than not, she comes up with like very superficial and kind of like cliche rap singles. That being said, she had tweeted because there was a verse, I forget what Eminem was saying, but you know,
Right. Like you're not gonna be you're not gonna be compared to the Pox or the Jays. You're gonna be like with Taylor Swift and
right,
the Iggy.
exactly.
That's
And
right.
and yeah, like and the Iggy Ho, that's what he said specifically in terms of her.
Ooh, is she gonna come out with a diss track?
No, she's not.
Oh,
Not. Oh God, please
it's
no.
not like a twig.
It'll
Oh
be
my
it'll
god.
trend as much as when in her freestyle. I don't know if you ever saw that.
No, I did. I know
Oh
I
God,
did.
don't. Oh, you did.
I
Okay.
did not. I did not.
Oh, don't.
Okay.
Because they. Okay, I'm gonna. You don't have to watch it because I'll tell you. It's just so.
Oh no, I've seen it. Okay, no, I've seen
Okay,
it.
now
Okay,
you remember. Okay,
that was the one with
she was.
they
You
replaced
know,
her voice with that kid from the Wild
she
Thornberries.
was voicing out the people of the Pentecostal speaking in tongues in her
Yeah.
freestyle. It just terrible, but she had tweeted saying something along the lines of, "Oh, oh wait, here it is. Diss songs shouldn't be filled with celebrity name drops to pad out lazy bars." Okay, so I'm gonna say my things before you get into it because I already see your face. There's two major things wrong with this. Well,
Mm-hmm.
three really. First of all, at least MJK had the balls to come out with a diss track before tweeting anything out. He
Mm-hmm.
actually came out with Rap Devil. You're staying on Twitter because that's the only place where you can stay. You cannot go beyond that realm because if you ever just
Anywhere the light touches, it's part of
just
fucking
if ever even thought, hey, maybe I should come, you're dead. You already ended your career
right.
doing that. Eminem already made a diss track about you and he already ended you. So that's the first thing. Second, it shouldn't be filled with celebrity name drops to pad out lazy bars. You're implying that he had to drop your name in order to get some kind of friction or something. Like, yeah, you are a celebrity, but it's kind of like, I don't know, like Kendrick Lamar name dropping like an
Soldier Boy.
obscure, yeah, Soldier Boy. It's like, yeah, we know who Soldier Boy is, but I wouldn't call it a name drop. He's just kind of using Soulja Boy an example. He's just using
Yeah.
you an example because he doesn't believe you're a legit rap artist, which it's hard. It's a tough pill to swallow. Hashtag that shit. It's
Right.
kind of the truth. You haven't come out with anything for people to say you are. Even Cardi B has a more respectable rap album than you. And she's been only in the game, in the music industry for like 3 years. You've been in the music industry for much longer than that already, and you have yet to come out with a rap album. Third, to pad out lazy bars. Now listen,
Did you read Did you read the rest of it?
no, forget it. Look, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Okay, you can believe that Eminem's diss track had lazy bars in it. You should be the last one talking, Azalea. Like, I know she's not hearing this. She doesn't give a fuck. She's successful. And again, I want her to succeed, but I'm also honest. Have you listened to your own songs lately? I think it's because you don't write most of them that you don't realize how lazy your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a disconnect. Eminem actually writes his own things. You don't write maybe a lot of things probably. Well, I don't know. I don't want to assume, but I assume that you don't write all of it. I'm going to assume that you buy some lyrics in it and some verses. You have some, I don't know them, but again, I can bet, $1 million that you have a lot of lazy verses and you don't even have, does she have an album? Yeah, she has one album.
She does.
I think so.
You can't put me on the spot about the trajectory of Iggy Azalea's career.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think she's on her fifth album.
Right. So she has one album, I believe. Max 2 EPs and stuff like that.
Right.
I can guarantee you from all her discography versus Eminem's extensive discography, Iggy Azalea has a lot more lazy bars, corny bars, cheesy bars than Eminem. And we're talking about albums, a bunch of EPs, LP, and deluxe tracks. We're talking over, what is it, 20 years? Over 10 years. So almost 20 years. We're talking about almost 20 years versus maybe 5-6 years. You have a lot more shitty shit. you have a lot
Yeah.
of more shitty verses. You are the last one to talk about, oh, diss track shouldn't have celebrity name drops to pad out lazy bars, because you got to take a good look at your material to be able to say something like that
Yep.
against Eminem.
Uh,
Like, I don't know what you think about all that. That's my tea.
I'm gonna actually I have the lyrics from Kill Shot here about their section, and I'm gonna read a little bit before because this is also a funny line. It's not relevant to Iggy
Okay.
until a couple lines later, but got the Diddy okay. So you spent your whole day shooting a video just to fucking dig your own grave because he has a shovel.
Yeah, dude, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, I
It
was
was so
out
clever.
shooting a video just to fucking dig your own grave.
Yeah, that's
Got you out
clever.
your own wake. I'm the Billy Goat. You ain't never made a list next to no Biggie, no Jay. Next to Taylor Swift and that Iggy ho, you about to really blow. Kelly, they'll be putting your name next to Ja, next to Benzino. Oh
Yeah,
man. But
yeah,
yeah, in the context that Iggy was used, and I mean, firstly, her critique is wrong. I mean, specifically in this case, it's like a product placement in a movie. You know, it's
right.
like what purpose are you using it for? And it's like, all right, he was just bringing out Taylor Swift and Iggy as examples of, hey, these are like the mainstream white kids that you're right next to there, Kelly. Like it was for a
Yeah.
purpose. It was for a reason. It wasn't just to pad out.
But
Like,
it was even less than product placement,
yeah.
because at least you get some kind of money, or you get some kind of
Oh, Eminem
attraction.
doesn't need a cosign from anybody. Like he
No,
doesn't need to
but
like
even
bring in
then,
people.
but even then, it wasn't even like, you can't even relate it to product placement, because product placement, you get something out of it.
Right.
It was basically more like a home video, and in the home video, like, some of the home videos you might have shot when we were younger, you happen to have a Coke. Coke wasn't paying you. It's just that you happen to have that there,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, okay, this is something that people drink, whatever. And it's like you say, Eminem, these are the mainstream white people that you're next to. You're not next to anyone else.
Like
This is
and
where
next,
you are.
like these like legendary fucking rappers, like that's me.
Yeah.
You like over there, like with like these teeny boppers.
Right.
And that was the idea. And it's like that even if you disagree with where Eminem has placed you, Iggy, it's like you just still have to realize that there wasn't like a purposeless name
Right.
drop either, even if you don't
Yeah.
agree with what's being said. And so the
Right.
critique was just wrong from the beginning about Eminem's specific usage of name dropping. And then on top of that, you're in no position to speak. Just like everything you said. It's
Yeah.
like,
And let's be clear, because there might be people there like, oh, look at these guys mansplaining. It has nothing to do with that. This is hip hop. And listen, man, I'm all about.
Iggy is all in her right to release a
Yeah.
track. And like, if it comes out great, then we'll admit it.
Absolutely. Yes.
Like, that's it.
Yes. But again, and that's why I'm reaffirming it. And and how I had mentioned in the unrecorded, and it sucks because I wish there was well, no, there's my audio. So I will put out the soundbite if I ever have to. I want her to succeed.
Sure.
Because first of all, she's a human being, positive vibes, whatever. Second, she's from Miami. I want her to succeed, but at the same time, as a consumer of entertainment, one has to be honest and convicted to their own opinion. And the fact stands is that you haven't sold anything. You haven't had like a breakout anything ever in your 5 years.
That's right.
And that's the point of what Eminem is bringing out. MGK has not had a breakout of his own. You haven't had a breakout of your own. Taylor Swift, kind of, but that's just arguably it's because of other people, not necessarily her pure talent. Because after the whole Grammy thing with Kanye, what has she done since? She's still successful. She has her credit to her. She has a great, strong fan base that follow her tours, and good for her. But in terms of greatness in the sphere of entertainment and music, she's not up there in terms of like classic artists that we're going to talk about in the next 50 years. It's going to be not a forgettable name, but it's going to be like not a name you have to mention,
right,
if you want to describe the entertainment business in our time and stuff like that. But I'm
and
with
MGK,
you.
but MGK is like also is like there, but like 5,000 times less likely that we'll be talking about him, except in the long line of like.
And if there's something we can all agree with, that well, not agree with, but I'll say for Iggy, if it makes anything better, I think you're even bigger than MGK, which
Yes.
Eminem could have he could have said something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if he even thought about that, but Iggy, you're bigger than MGK. You have a bigger following. You
I would say so.
you might have, I don't know the exact numbers, but I wouldn't be surprised if your numbers match him or at least
They
up
were
there
they
with
were
him.
around their same orbit at least,
Yeah, and
like each other's.
and MGK has been around longer, so that says a lot. But yeah, I think my problem with her is the same problem with that I had with the whole Nicki Minaj thing with Cardi B. You were talking all this shit about how you'll cut a bitch up,
Yeah.
you know, in your songs, and you constantly, and it's fine, it's hip hop, it's part of the thing, it's part of the culture. But the moment someone's actually serious about the beef, security, back up. Like all of a sudden those verses are completely empty. And that's what I felt about any artist that comes out with just tweets and get butthurt with Eminem specifically. Again, it's the Hulk. When he comes out, he's not
Oh yeah.
necessarily in control, but you also have to understand there's purpose in the madness. It's not pure disrespect. It's just truth. It's truth. At the end of the day, it's honesty, and it's the way it is. And you either take it and you get butthurt about it, or in the culture, which is why I like beef, you take that energy and you channel it to make something good and prove people wrong. Prove you
Right.
wrong. Just like you had mentioned, she's free to make a track, she's free to make an album and make something good. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And not just tweet about it. So uh continue on with Eminem. He also released his Lucky You music video with Joyner Lucas. It was supposed to come out Wednesday. I don't know what had happened. I think it had something to do with the kill shot.
Mhm.
Maybe something was going on with, there was like a delay, and
Maybe.
he really wanted to get kill shot out. He didn't want to wait more than it had. He probably already
Yeah.
felt like he was already behind. Like, oh my god, it's been over a week. It's going to be 2 weeks. I really need to make sure I get this out there, even if it means delaying the visual for Lucky You. So, Trish, I want to hear your thoughts on the music video. I think we can agree that's both our favorite track out of it, even though you
Yeah.
didn't like Kamikaze. I think Lucky You is easily the strongest single in the strongest record in the album. Like, really good. The
Now,
flow, the beat.
absolutely. I haven't listened to it enough times though for me to. I haven't listened to Lucky You specifically.
Right.
So here's the thing: what I picked out from the music video, firstly, wasn't that deep. It
I
had a
agree.
simple concept, and it was like they were like I think you got Joyner in like a bulletproof vest, and they were like wrapping around some cars on fire at night, and then that main scene with the clones, which
Hmm.
they had that whole pause in the middle of it where they're like, they're doing everything we're doing.
Are you fiends?
That was pretty.
Yeah.
That was a little funny. It went on for a little bit longer than I wanted, but I
Yeah.
mean, Eminem fucking like doing like the
Yeah.
side to side dab like over and over, and
Well,
they just all
that was the
repeat it.
point, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's his
So
thing. That's
that's
his thing.
right. So the thing is that like I totally get it, but that part, that whole thing of the video, I think is supposed to just like signify like, hey, this is like a legion of like people that are trying to bite us or trying to
Mhm.
bite you specifically. Like, look at all these people that are doing everything that you're doing. Like it's just
Right.
like Attack of the Clones. Like all these people are just gonna do whatever you do. Like,
Yeah.
but I didn't really catch. Like, is that also a theme in the song about like
That's what I was that's what I also wanted to bring up.
Okay.
While purely visual and purely context in the video, I get it. Based off everything you had mentioned, that's what I got it from as well. But I'm also confused with you. The lyrics didn't really have anything to do with that. It had
Let me actually pull up the lyrics. Genius
yeah,
is my
sure,
best friend.
sure. Yeah, I love but it was more about it was more like a flex song. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
especially Joyner's verses. He's talking about, well, the chorus itself. Y'all gotta move, y'all gotta move. Give me some room, give me some room, give me the juice. You know,
Yeah.
Joy. He opens up with, it's my time to cut the food, pass the plate. Where's my drink? Blah blah blah. So it's more like a flex song. It's more about like, you know, that it's their time, blah blah blah. And then Eminem comes in more in a reflective way,
Mhm.
It just for me, maybe I'm missing something. I'll look up the lyrics as well because I don't recall everything. But
I
based
mean,
off the lyrics, it doesn't really run parallel to what the music video was trying to convey, or the theme the music video was trying to touch on.
okay, like going to Eminem's verse here, it's like, straight from the jump, it's like I got a couple of mansions, still I don't have any manners. You got a couple ghost riders, but to these kids, it don't actually matter. They're asking me what the fuck happened to hip hop. I said I don't have any answers because I took an L when I dropped my last album. Oh, look at that! So he does kind of admit that revival kind of. I took an L when I dropped my last
Yeah,
album and hurt like hell, but I'm back on these rappers. And actually, coming from humble beginnings, I'm somewhat uncomfortable winning. I wish I could say, what a wonderful feeling. We're on the upswing, like we're punching the ceiling. He is making some references to other people, and it's like so let's recap way back. MCs that wreak havoc on tape decks, A-Dads where the G-Raps and Kane's at. It's like talking about, hey, we're all these like, like the rappers like they were in the old days. So
yeah, but
maybe you can kind of make that correlation between like, all of these rappers and stuff like that. They're all like these mumble rappers. They're like talentless hacks. They're all the same.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
Like
but
you could maybe kind of
I
make
feel
that.
like that's more of a reach rather than a pure reference to the song and to the lyrics of it. I think that's more
Sure.
of a reach. I feel again, it's more of a reflective. It's more reflective rather than having to do with analyzing what's going on outside in the rap game
Sure.
and the wave and like popularity. I think for me, ultimately, what it comes down to is that this wasn't really the right song to do a visual on, if that makes any sense. I
Yeah.
think you had a lot of other tracks that you could have used, like the excuse me, whatchamacallit, you could have the ringer easily could have been that one when
Yeah.
that because that's what it's kind of about. It's kind of he touches more about other people in the ringer than he does in Lucky You. Lucky
And I
You
think he
feels more reflective.
and I think he could have maybe done like a because I'll tell you what, man. Like, how long ago did Rap God come out?
Rap God,
Yeah.
um, that must have been like 2.5 weeks ago.
Rap God? I'm
Oh,
beginning
Rap
to
God.
feel like a
No,
rap god.
I was talking about. I had
Come
Rap Devil
on.
in my mind. Rap God. Oh man, I don't know, man.
But the
That's
music
like,
video for Rap God was better than this one.
oh yeah,
And that's the thing. Like
absolutely.
it's an older video. The production value was better. Also, man, the clones look like PS2 graphics. Like it did not look good. And then on top of that, like it was
They
like
look like fucking henchmen for the new Spider-Man game.
that's right. Like surrounding them like that. So it looked like shit. And then on
Oh
top of
man.
that, like if you could have picked a
Yeah.
better, more incendiary, like Rap God was, that was more like a like poking. It's just me spitting straight bars. Like if you could have picked a song like that and come out with like a quality, like a video that had as good of a quality as Rap God did, would have been a much better representation. They kind of, I
Yeah.
think they just threw this together. It looked like a little bit of a
Yeah, I was
slapdash.
gonna say it feels rushed. It feels like he wasn't working on this before Kamikaze, before releasing Kamikaze, because obviously he had it ready before releasing it.
That's right.
Um, it just seemed like it released it, and he's like, "Hey, I got a good momentum. Might as well make some visuals." That's what it felt more like. Versus,
Hmm.
let's go Lucky You because that happened to be the most popular one. Because out of the whole album, that was probably the most popular record in it. That one was consistently
and
playing
not
number
and
one,
not denim.
and not
Which was the one that was
not
supposed to
denim.
be like really
Yeah.
like promote a movie.
So this felt more like I'm not gonna even say Eminem did this. This felt more like an agent move, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. This felt more like Paul saying, "Hey, while you got this going on, do Lucky You," and he's like, "All right, I don't give a fuck. I'll do it, whatever." Like, because he doesn't seem like he seems very indifferent. He seems like the kind of guy to be indifferent when it comes to visuals. Because at this point in his career, he oh my bad. I just cracked my finger. Any
Like
listener that
stop
has, yeah, any listener that has the biggest pet peeves, just like their ears started bleeding.
yeah, in fact, if they're not watching this and just listening to it, like we could just say, like, oh, he had a chicken this whole time and just broke its
It just
neck.
broke the bone.
That's right. Like they don't know what they just heard.
That's
It's just
disgusting.
I know.
But anyways, yeah, this seemed more like a money business move
Yeah.
versus like artistic move or, artist move or whatever.
Mhm.
So this wasn't the right song to do a visual. I didn't like he also had a visual for another song. I forget what it was for. That one was kind of weird too. Um, yeah, this wasn't the right one. I felt like if he was going to do a visual, I'm with you. It should have been something more like Rap God, where it's something more confrontational, a more aggressive song that would have been worth seeing a music video for versus just Lucky You, which is the best track, but
Yeah.
it's not really something I'd be interested in seeing how you convey it through a music video.
No.
So it was pretty weak, but hey man, I think it's just a big win for him. He's just
Sure.
because you had mentioned it that at the end of the day, even though you didn't really like it, I did like it regardless of the Venom. I just felt like Denim ruined the whole album for me. But I
Yeah.
did enjoy the ride before the plane completely crashed on Venom. At the end of the day, it just made us a bit more excited to see what Eminem was gonna come out next. So I think ultimately we see him coming out with music videos. I think he's setting up tour dates. If I'm not, he's going to set up a tour for Kamikaze for sure. He
Yeah.
already has merchandising for it. I'm gonna buy the vinyl for it for sure. I'm buying a vinyl
All right.
because for me this is a classic. I think this is a big staple for like hip hop. People are gonna be talking about this record in terms of hip hop for the next few years. The way we still talk about Still Dre when Dre made his comeback in like 2000 or whatever. So I don't know. I'm really excited for what he has next. I don't know. He definitely has to come out with an album, not just a dissed album, but like an actually good album, not fucking uh revival or whatever. That was shit. That was really bad.
I have to agree there.
um and I think that's it. Pretty sure I don't know if there's something else you want to talk about or touch upon. There's some people that release some interesting things on, like Paul McCartney came out with music. That was random.
Yeah. He's dropping surprise albums like
Yeah.
Beyonce. Beyonce's doing it.
He's like, oh, I think I'm famous enough to just
Eminem's doing
do a
it. Kanye's
surprise
doing
drop.
it.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
surprise.
freaking Kanye doing his he did
Yay.
I
Out of
love
nowhere.
it. No, he did I love it.
I'm
Wait.
sick fuck galactic. I thought you meant like the way they released those in his
Oh, yeah,
albums,
yeah,
which
yeah.
were surprises also. But no, yeah, he just kind of dropped. Like, oh, God.
What did you think of that? Of I love it.
It's a meme. The
Yeah.
entire thing is a meme. They made that video, and just Kanye's face throughout the entire thing, where he's like, "Hey, hey." It's like he knows that it's a meme.
Mhm. Yeah.
They
Absolutely.
were Minecraft characters. What was all of that? And that's the point. That was the point.
Yeah.
That was the
Yeah.
point. And I appreciated it.
Which
I
Kanye has done kind of meme songs like that before. He's done
Yes.
kind of throwaway songs where it's like just kind of like Father Stretch Your Hand Part 2 on Life of Pablo, where it's like
or Poopity Scoop.
or Poopity Scoop or whatever. But just kind of like these throwaway songs where it's like, man, this song is so stupid, but I love that beat. The beat's so good. Like I like it has a really catchy beat.
And hey, shout out to Lil Pump, right?
Yeah, Lil Pump. Man, he's from Miami, right?
Yes, he is. That's why I said that.
I try to support the kid, but I'm not a big fan of.
No, me
Honestly,
neither. But
I
like,
haven't listened to too much of his stuff, but
which, by
I
the
don't
way,
really like him.
we do have to rope back in the beef that we're attempting to start with Anthony Fantano. We tried doing that last week, but
Yeah, I want that clout, dude.
We
I
want that
clout.
so we're gonna call his ass out because this is an old hat by now. It's already a meme that's passed. He gave Damn a 7, right? And then he also gave Lil Pump's EP a 7. So, so everyone's like, you gave Lil Pump and Damn a 7.
Yeah,
Like
my big thing was with Fantana, because we were touching upon it on the last recording.
Yeah.
I don't like his rubric. I don't like the way he scales his song. I think, I think he gave To Pimp a Butterfly a really low rating too.
No,
I want to say
no. He gave it a perfect 10, boy.
You're a liar. For real?
He gave To Pimp a Butterfly a 10.
Okay, well, in my opinion, he has a strange rubric. when
It's
and
his
that's just
opinion.
me. Yeah, it's his opinion at the end of the day. But I'm just saying, he's got some strange fucking
Yeah,
like.
you heard this here, Anthony. He
Yeah,
said that you have a weird rubric.
yeah, you're.
Kill him. he's calling your ass out.
And I
Oh
got a full
shit.
head of hair, and your
Oh
bald head
shit.
melon ass
I
can
don't.
match
So
me,
that's why I
bro.
have this hat on. That's why
Because you're bald.
you do the hair thing. You
Still have
do.
more. At least you have a beard. He doesn't even have a
Oh,
beard.
he has a mustache. He can do a mustache.
His mustache is worse than mine,
No,
and I don't even have one.
he can actually grow a pretty full
Dude,
mustache.
yeah, he can't. What do you mean? He's got like
You hear that,
semi-
Anthony? You can't grow a mustache. We're just like laying off. This is like one long diss track right here.
Yeah,
A diss talk.
a diss podcast, man, a discast.
It's this
That's
podcast.
that's what it's all about.
I'm gonna. Oh man, we're running kind of short on time here. As far as what we want to talk about next week, we're gonna postpone this conversation that we wanted to have originally about local artists and stuff like that. Because I mean, we had to just touch on Rap Devil, the response, and there was a lot of other things that happened in the week just leading up to this that we just had.
We also
had to talk
have
about.
a timeline with Kamikaze after talking about it, and we're not going to be able to release the content or whatever.
Exactly. So by next week, we're going to have that conversation about local bands, about my experience being in a band personally, things that I've picked up during my life on the road, which I haven't we haven't traveled or anything, but we've played a few gigs, and I had never gigged or done anything like that before. So I'll share some of the wisdom I can impart in that area. But before we close things out, we want to leave y'all with a couple suggestions. Just like things that we kind of we feel that you should check out for the week going into next week's podcast. So do you have anything off the top of your head? Maybe a song that you've been listening to that you could probably throw on to people?
Yeah, I think so. I think people should go ahead and listen to Hoyser's new, I think it's his new EP.
Is it Hoyser or Hosier?
I say Hoyser.
It almost sounds like you're gonna like burp up some like Hoyser.
Well, how do you pronounce it?
I say Hosier.
Okay, Hosier. Whatever. Hoyser. Tomato. Point is, he came out with an EP. I think it's pretty good. I've always liked him. So I think that one kind of deserves a listen. Even Paul McCartney's album. I'd give it a listen because there's so much rap albums coming out. I have yet to hear anything other than that, and it's refreshing. So if you want something fresh to kind of clean out the rap palette in your ears and stuff like that, I'd give that a listen.
Absolutely. I have a couple suggestions. So one is a band that my band actually we opened up for, and they are from Eugene, Oregon. They only have about 2,000 followers on Facebook, but they deserve a hell of a lot more. They played. We were at like this little dive bar, and it was like by the time they went on stage, it was like 12 a.m. And they killed it. I love them, and I was like, man, we were on the same bill with them. Like we were in no league as far as skill level went. So
that's funny.
The name of the band is Spiller, Spiller. If you look up Spiller Band on Facebook or on Google, they should come up. But they were a 4-piece. The drummer is like a classically trained jazz drummer. Like they do a lot of stuff. I mean, they did a cover of like a few like Cuban kumbaya.
Dang.
Kumbaya. That's what they sing around the campfire. That's what I meant to say. But like, they even did like a cover of like a Cuban like thing. But they're like as white as hell.
Awesome.
I couldn't believe it. They pulled it off, but they did. So again, name of the band is Spiller. They're awesome, and they are like a new like indie rock, but not heavy, super instrument heavy type of. It's like they have a lot of extended jam sessions. If you're into that type of music, and if you just want to hear some good skilled musicians kind of going at it, and they're kids too, they're like our age, like they're super young, and they're cool. Like really doing that. So again, name of the band Spiller. One more thing, because that's like the non-rap thing. So as far as the rap thing goes, I've been listening to a lot of. I haven't been listening to a lot of Mac Miller, because we did talk about him in that first podcast that can't be released, but in the aftermath, I haven't been listening to like a lot of his music, like his albums, but I've been coming back constantly to a Tiny Desk concert that he did for NPR.
Man, yes.
So that one was spectacular, and I've just had that on repeat. It was him. You had Thundercat on bass. Ooh, There is some great musical moments in that thing, so I would suggest watching that again. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. It was a really just great overall performance. So that's the NPR Tiny Desk concert with Mac Miller. So I would say check that out.
Yeah, super cool. All right. Well, thank you for anyone out there that took their time and let us interrupt their day, listening to us talk about this. And we would love to have an active community because
Oh
we don't want
yeah,
to keep this conversation just between Joey and myself. We would love to talk to other people, anyone that's in a local band themselves, or maybe they're just a local artist by themselves. It'd be
yeah,
really cool. We want to hear about all you guys. Right now I'm in Miami, Joey's in Austin. So we kind of have like big local scenes here, but we're excited to hear about the local scenes in other places, New York,
yeah,
LA,
yeah.
and places like that. We would love to hear from you guys. And again, we're going to be talking about more local artists. So it might be in your interest to come back. And surprise, this is even a surprise for Joey. He doesn't even know.
Oh man.
We're going to have a surprise guest. We're already gonna have a guest.
Is it Anthony
Episode
Fantano?
2.
Did he message you while you're in the middle? Like, I know what you guys fucking said.
He emailed me, and it's just a kamikaze plane dropping melons. So we're gonna take that as
Anthony, he called you a melon again.
no, it's gonna be a local artist from Miami. We actually have a couple lined up, so that's very exciting.
Damn, nice.
So again, thank you for letting us interrupt your day. We hope to hear you again next week.
Bye.
All right, there we go.
Stop recording.
Yeah, let me stop.
And that was about an hour and a half for me.
Let me see. Where do I see? Yep, about the same for me as well. And we were talking for, I think, a little bit in the beginning before we initiated the podcast. Oh, let me
Exactly. Yeah.